What are we doing with the GCNX? Well, the first thing to say is that the GCNX is the only people assessment tool in the world that is based on a high-level business cycle. Now that's really important because it's giving us two things. First of all, it's aligning to everyday business process, any business process, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. But the second thing is it's providing us with business language. So it means that any business leader, any business manager, any employee, when they're using the GCNX, they get it straight away. They understand the language. It is their language. Now, let's explore a bit more about that business cycle. At the beginning of a business cycle, someone comes up with a new idea for a business. We call that game changer. We then take that idea and we put it into a plan or a roadmap or a strategy. That's what we call strategist. We then execute the strategy. That's our implementer. We continually improve the business. That's our polisher. And then we all work together towards a common goal. That's our playmaker. Now, for every company to be successful, they need all 5 elements. They're all equally important. If we don't have one of them, the company will fail. And more than that, every company is actually going through this process tens, hundreds, or thousands of times a day, depending on how big the company is. Because we're constantly creating ideas, making sense of them, making them happen, making them brilliant, and all working together. So all the GCNX is doing is finding out, where does an individual naturally fit in this business cycle? Where does a team fit? And where does an organization fit? So we have 3 views. The first view is the individual view. And when someone takes the GCNX, we end up with a number of 1 to 10 in each of the 5 areas, which means that we have a variation of 100,000 possible reports. It's very individual. Extremely unlikely that 2 people on the same team are going to have exactly the same profile. Then we can look at a team. Now a team is obviously made up of individuals, so we see all of them in the team. But then what we do is we aggregate the scores to find out, what does the team as an entity look like? How aligned is this team to what we're asking it to do? When does this profile work really well for them, and when might it not work well for them? And this aggregation we can do at any level. It could be a team, a division, a function, a department, an office location, a region, a country, and of course we can do the whole company. Now, when we measure a whole company, what we're really measuring is the company's business culture. And we define business culture as how decisions get made. And of course, decisions may well be made in different ways across the business. So our sales function might make decisions differently to our manufacturing function or our HR function or even our senior leadership team. And this view enables us to understand how aligned the business is, why certain parts of the business might be performing well, why some bits might not be performing, and it allows us to get a great snapshot of the whole business. But these 3 views are still people views. The GCNX can also be used to help us understand, how do we deliver success for any project, any program, or any business process? Here's an example of one of our partners that worked with a large European financial institution last year. What they did was they sat down with them for half a day and they had a workshop where the first thing they did is say, we're going to look at your top 3 projects in the business. One was a cost reduction program, another was a compliance project, and the third was a portal project. The next thing they did is they said, what do you want to achieve in each of the next 4 quarters for each of these projects? And then finally they had a discussion that said, if you want to achieve these objectives in each quarter, what are the business activities that you need to prioritize? Now, the business activities I want to prioritize are business activities in the normal business life cycle, which of course are represented in GCNX terms. Now, this process has done 2 things. The first thing it's done is given us a high-level map of how we're going to drive success for each of these projects. The second thing it does, though, it now gives us a resource allocation tool. Because now, based on the profiles of individuals and teams, we can allocate them to different steps and different areas to get the best out of them, to get the best out of the project or the process. And if we take this to its highest level, every company has got something that's important to them. It could be a purpose, it could be core values, it could be mission statement, vision statement, whatever it might be. And here's an example of a client that we worked with a few years ago now, where Nike had a maxim number 1, they called it, which is, it is our nature to innovate. That was their strapline. And underneath that strapline, they had 5 elements. Think something no one else thinks, build something nobody else builds, or improve something that already exists, envision possibilities, and accelerate them through new relationships. Now, what Nike have actually done here is they've done a bit of a map of the business lifecycle to support their innovation process. And therefore, this is a really easy one for us because we just map straight across. Think something no one else thinks is a game changer. Build something no one else builds is an implementer, and so on. But we can do this process with any statement because every statement is built on a high-level business cycle. And of course, the GCNX is just mimicking a high-level business cycle. So all we do is ask 5 questions. What does a statement mean to a game changer, and how can a game changer contribute to it? What does it mean to a polisher, and how can a polisher contribute to it? And we end up with 5 very tailored views that is going to help every employee in that business to understand how can they contribute and be valued for their contribution towards the company's main purpose or goal or objective. And finally, the way that this GCNX tends to be used within our client base is that it may well start off being used in what we call point solutions. So we might use it for leadership team strategy program, for example, or it might be used in learning and development, or we could use it for recruitment. But many of our clients then progress and say, actually, we're looking at doing a large transformational change in the business. Whether that might be a technology transformation, or whether it's an organizational reorganization, or we're buying and integrating another company, whatever that might be. So understanding what are we now, where do we want to get to, and knowing when we've got there, they're using the GCNX to understand all of that. And finally, many of our clients are then saying, well, why don't we use this for all of our business decision making in the organization, to help us make best business decisions we can in all 20 business areas. Thank you for watching. And if you'd like to learn more about how your business or your client's business might make better business decisions through using the GCNX data, then please contact us.